Hey, so I want to talk about free will. I've gotten I think maybe more than one, a request to do a video on free will. What I think about it. Just everything, right? Kind of a spiel. And free will is really confusing. It's very, very confusing. Like, I feel like it's not as confusing at surface level because it's so common to us, or it isn't. Maybe, right? But pretty much no one really thinks about it, but like free will is very complicated, right? What if we are just a reaction of everything, right? What if you are timid or you're very defensive because your parents said like just let it go if someone bullies you, or like if someone like bullies you or whatever, or bumps into you, I don't know. Then you like don't allow that. You punch them or something, right? Or maybe you cuss a lot because your dad cussed a lot, right? What if like you used to care a lot about school and grades and future, or not future, school and grades, right? But then you started hanging out with some kids that didn't care so much about school, and they spent more time playing games, right? You started doing that too, right? You could just be a reaction, and pretty much your body is just, it's a really sad reality, or possibility of reality, or theory of reality, but it's very plausible. It's very, very feasible. Um, how do like that would just mean that you're like this body that's holding the most advanced computer like ever, right? And we evolved to be so good at adapting to like these things around us because it lets us be better with the tribe. The people, the tribe, as in like the human race, the friend group, whatever. We got so good at all this reacting because it helps us fit in better and be higher of status in the tribe, right? That would be the reason for it evolutionarily. Um, but what if we do have a soul, right? Like I feel like that's what a lot of people think. But at the same time, like that's very hopeful, because it's very possible that the reality is that life is just a cold, dark, meaningless venture, and you are nothing. You're just some particles in the universe, or you're you. There's something special about you. You have a soul. Maybe there's a God. Maybe there's a God that loves you. Maybe there's a God that's far away, cold and distant. Maybe there's a God that's mean. He's a terrible person. He created you, said, "Oh, I hate this." And he left all this evil in the world, right? And I'm not going to be talking about the existence of a God this video. I did that. I'll link everything. If you have any questions about something I said or whatever, let me know in the comments or join the Discord. I'll put it in the description. Just let me know. You don't have to accept any rules or email or whatever. I'm not. I genuinely just want to know. I like answering these questions. I like talking about them. I like seeing what you guys think. If you have like something to say about what I had to say, just let me know. I'm not gonna be offended by it, right? But basically, I'm not gonna talk about God. I'm gonna talk about the existence of a soul because I think that, like, from a scientific standpoint, the only real plausible argument is that we are a reaction of everything around us. We're just like a big wet towel that soaks up everything. Um, why did I say wet towel? That means it already soaked everything up and it can't. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Anyways, um, yeah, but pretty much immaterial substance theory, which is basically that we have a soul, right? Is what I think, right? And I just want to disclaimer: I do believe in a God. I am Christian, right? But um, yeah. So I just want to say that I'm not saying that's what I'm going to talk about the whole time. That's not at all, right? But what I am saying, I'm just letting you know, so you like off the bat know where I'm probably going to be going with this. Okay. But basically, I think that a soul, right? People, because we can't prove a soul, we can't prove a God, we can't do any of that. But at the same time, we live in this three-dimensional world with our laws of math and time and all this stuff. And basically everything has to follow laws, like the law of matter. Matter has to be created or destroyed. Or cannot be created or destroyed. But does that make sense when you really think about it scientifically? Because the universe had to start, right? Oh, but the scientific argument is that the universe just is. You know, there's the Big Bang, there's all these things, you know? But I feel like all of them are just dodging the question because it's unanswerable, you know? And the whole reason why God can exist is because it's unprovable. But at the same time, our soul, sorry, I keep saying God, it's just that and like a soul are so closely intertwined. But I'm going to try to stray away from the word God. I don't want to be talking about God. I want to be talking about a soul, right? And again, I want to say that I think a soul is the only thing that would make us unique, okay? If I didn't believe in a God, I would say that, or like, that the universe was like, if I believed that the universe was like just a big ball of whatever and there's nothing special, nothing supernatural, I would believe that we're just reaction, no matter how sad of a reality that is. But I don't. And that's because, based on the law of, this is probably the most known scientific law, I think, ever. Is that matter can't be created nor destroyed. Law of matter. But that doesn't make sense because the universe had to start with something, right? And like I said, I already said this, but I'm just repeating myself. But basically, every question just avoids the question. Or avoids that, right? And pretty much the main thing is the universe just was, or is, right? You know, and there's like Big Bang and stuff, but pretty much they all, like at the very base level, if you keep asking, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? It just is, okay? That would mean that law isn't true. The law of matter can't be true, right? I mean, I know it's one example out of everything ever, right? But it's still true and it's still sound until someone proves that the universe started with, or whatever, right? Yeah, because that law can't be true, that means that like something that didn't have a cause or was created by something is possible. When I say that, I'm talking about a soul. It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible for it to not be real, but I'm saying it's plausible, no matter how far-fetched, right? And I don't think it makes sense to try to prove the existence of like a soul, something that's supernatural that isn't scientific, with scientific standards. I already said that, right, with the subject in school. But so pretty much we can't prove it like that. We can't try to prove it that way. That wouldn't make sense. That would be redundant. Okay? So we have to try to prove it some other way. But I like to take the approach of not even trying to prove it, by having faith. And faith is a weird word. The way I'm going to define faith is believing in something even though you can't see it. Or you can't like prove it, essentially. Right? And we use faith every day in our lives. Science is faulty. Now I'm not trying to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist or that guy that said all of our math is wrong. He was an actor. I don't know. He's funny. I'm not trying to say that. But I'm saying that if you keep asking a scientist this, how this, why this, again, we don't know where, like, what an atom really is, you know? And if, well, okay, there's quarks, right? I'm sure there's more terms and stuff that we found. But, like, eventually, it's like, well, I don't know. We don't really know. Meaning, we have faith that this is true, and what we're saying makes sense and is all real, right? We have faith that this math makes sense, right? We have strong evidence, but at the same time, that evidence is faulty, meaning it's really technically baseless, right? And, you know, again, there's like the argument like senses, it's all we got. I'm not going to be addressing that. I want to keep this video under 27.863 hours. Okay. So essentially, we have to have faith that we have a soul. There's no other way around it. You know, and I don't think that this faith is far-fetched. You know, like I said, we have faith that all of our math is right. We have faith, okay? And I'm going to stop using the term math because that's much more strongly supported. But I'm going to use the term like science and stuff. Like we have faith that our senses are correct. Our senses have betrayed us before. You know, you can take a couple delicious mushrooms off the ground in the wild somewhere, and your senses will tell you other things that aren't really there. You know, your brain tricks you, so you can't trust what's your senses are telling you. You know, it's like the Matrix, right? If we were all in a Matrix, we wouldn't know that, even though we're really just sitting in some gelatin cube or chamber or whatever, right? So we have faith that our senses are telling us the truth. Then again, that is all that we have. We have to put faith in that, right? And I think the same thing goes for a soul. We have to have faith that it exists. Because without that soul, we are nothing. Life, like, actually is nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we're no different from that rock. We're just a rock with a couple more special gemstones on it, right? So I think we need to have faith that it exists. You know? And because I said that proved that a soul is possible, you know, it's also plausible. And that's why I think we have free will, pretty much, right? Because that soul. So I'm pretty much talking about like the existence of a soul. That's why I'm really just bringing the subject towards when I talk about free will, because there's just a lot of these things can't be proven scientifically, but they shouldn't be. If they were able to be scientifically proven, then they're scientific. They're not whatever they are, you know? That's really it, you know? But like free will is just weird, you know? Are we, you know, there's so many questions you can ask. What makes a good person? You know, with this free will that we may or may not have, is morality, what's morality? You know, there's so many more questions. I feel like saying free will doesn't exist is so much easier also because it avoids so many questions. Because when you talk about free will, it immediately talks about so many other things that would involve some authority, mainly for morality and ethics, right? What's right and wrong? Because who says what's right and wrong if there's no God? No one. No one gets to say that, right? There's humans, but that would just be a tactic to stay in the tribe, right? So there's so many questions that arise with it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about free will. You know, I think we have a soul. I think we have to have faith that we have a soul. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wrote an essay like last semester on this for philosophy. It's only like 1,200 words. But if you want to read it, I'll put it on the Discord. I'll put in the general. I don't think I'll pin it. So it's a really small Discord. I would not be stressed about not being able to read it. Actually, I don't think there's a member yet. Someone asked me to make it. But yeah, that Discord, you can talk about whatever you want. Yeah, that's about it. So see ya.